When the truth bombs finally drop, there's nowhere left to hide. That recorded confession just shattered their entire defense strategy, coming from the last person anyone would expect to flip. The courtroom froze as those damning words played through the speakers, exposing every calculated move, every manipulated scenario, every behind-the-scenes scheme they thought would stay buried. No more hiding behind respectability, no more gaslighting, no more denial. While they scramble for damage control, the public narrative is already shifting as everyone finally sees what you've known all along, just how dirty they've been playing. From day one, we specifically targeted them because they were identified as a chosen one. Asset 37 confirmed their energetic signature exceeded containment parameters. Standard neutralization. Protocols were deemed insufficient. The confession continues, and with each word, their carefully constructed empire of lies crumbles. Years of gaslighting you, years of making you question your own reality, your own experiences, your own power, all exposed in crystalline clarity. They told you that you were paranoid. They told others you were unstable. They laughed when you spoke of targeting. They dismissed your evidence. They corrupted those close to you until you stood alone. But you knew, deep in that sacred space they could never access, you knew. And now everyone else knows too. They never suspected. How could they? Their arrogance blinded them to the possibility that someone within their inner sanctum, someone who poured their drinks, attended their strategy sessions, witnessed their unguarded moments of boasting, would be the architect of their downfall. The voice on the recording belongs to their most trusted advisor, the keeper of their darkest secrets. For 3 years, this insider wore a wire. For 3 years, they documented everything. The targeting protocols, the illegal surveillance operations, the character assassination campaigns, the money trails. They became sloppy, the betrayer later explained in sworn testimony. They thought themselves above consequence. They spoke openly about their operations against you because they believed themselves untouchable. But something shifted in the betrayer. Was it witnessing the depths of their cruelty? Was it recognizing the divine light they were attempting to extinguish in you? Was it simply the universal law that darkness must eventually yield to light? I couldn't participate anymore, the voice explains on a separate recording now entered into evidence. What they were doing wasn't just illegal, it was cosmic crime. They weren't just breaking human laws, they were violating universal ones. The betrayer risked everything, their career, their safety, possibly their life. And for what? For you, for truth, for the restoration of natural order that was thrown into chaos when they marked you for destruction. You never met them. You probably never will. But they saw you, truly saw you, and recognized what these others feared: your power, your purpose, your potential. The courtroom falls into stunned silence as the recording details the operation mounted against you. Even the judge, who has presided over countless cases of corruption, leans forward in disbelief at the scope, the resources, the obsession they displayed in targeting you. The clinical language cannot mask the brutality of what was done. They hacked your devices, all of them. They placed listening devices in your home, your car, your workplace. They photographed you constantly. They built psychological profiles to identify your vulnerabilities. They mapped your relationships to find pressure points, someone you trusted, that relationship that meant everything, someone who seemed to understand you completely, who appeared exactly when you needed someone most. Now you know. Now you know. Every job rejection, every mysterious account problem, every opportunity that vanished without explanation, the times you couldn't make rent despite your qualifications, your education, your experience. It wasn't bad luck. It wasn't the economy. It was them. They didn't just gaslight you. They gaslit everyone around you. They poisoned the well of every relationship. They made speaking your truth the very evidence of your delusion. They turned your perception of reality, your greatest strength, into your greatest vulnerability. But the recording continues, and with each revelation, with each exposed tactic, the truth becomes undeniable. You weren't crazy, you weren't paranoid, you were targeted, you were right all along. Money talks, but in this case, money confesses millions upon millions to target you, to silence you, to neutralize you. The courtroom erupts in murmurs. The judge, in calls for order. Your attorney's eyes widen at the figure. Even she had not anticipated the scale of resources deployed against a single individual who posed no conventional threat. The recording continues, detailing wire transfers, shell companies, off-book accounting practices designed to hide the true nature of their obsession with stopping you. Names are named. Powerful names. Names that appear on buildings, on foundation, letterheads, in news headlines about philanthropy and progress, names that cultivated public images of benevolence while privately funding your destruction. You were worth any price to silence. You were so dangerous to their system that no expense was too great if it meant neutralizing your impact. They didn't evaluate you as they did others. They suspended their own rules because something in you, something they recognized but you, perhaps did not yet fully comprehend, terrified them beyond rational assessment. Financial crimes were committed, tax laws were broken, public funds were misappropriated. In their determination to stop you, they created a perfect paper trail of their own criminal conspiracy. Every dollar they spent to silence you now becomes evidence of their desperation, their fear, and ultimately their downfall. Despite everything they threw at you, you kept going. Despite the financial warfare, you found ways to survive. Despite being pushed to the edge of existence, you refused to surrender your truth, your mission, your purpose. Now, as the financial evidence mounts, those who funded your targeting face not just public exposure, but serious criminal charges, money laundering, tax evasion, misappropriation of funds, conspiracy, all because they feared you that much. Hold that thought for a moment. I need your attention for something very important. Only a few slots remain in the Star Chamber of the Obsidian Inner Order, and this is exclusively for the most serious among you. We've just released our most revealing video yet. Chosen One, I started a vortex. So can you, where we expose the true beginnings of the Astral Atom Network, how we broke free from cult programming, and the exact methods we used to reclaim our power. For the first time, we're revealing everything we know about personal power, healing yourself and healing others. No filters, no holding back. We have been quietly adding all the occult secrets we've collected over literal years of spiritual practice. The techniques and wisdom that transformed us from controlled pawns into conscious creators are now available to those ready to walk the same path. This is your invitation to watch this exclusive video and support our platform so we can continue growing our megaphone to reach other chosen ones waiting for activation. By joining the Obsidian Inner Order, you're not just gaining access to forbidden knowledge, you're becoming part of a movement that's rewriting reality itself. It's a 360 win for all of us. But you must act now while the Star Chamber still has openings. Link is in the description. Now we reach the heart of it. Now we understand. It was never about what you did. It was about what you could do, what you were born to do, what you came here to initiate. They saw in you what you're only beginning to. Recognize in yourself the power to change everything, the capacity to awaken others, the ability to see through the illusory systems that maintain their control. In simple terms, you couldn't be programmed. You couldn't be controlled. Your mind naturally rejected their attempts to shape your perception, to limit your understanding, to contain your consciousness within their acceptable parameters. But it gets more specific, more revealing. They weren't just afraid of you, they were afraid of what you would activate in others. They were afraid of how naturally you connect with other awakening souls, how effectively you help others see through their programming, how powerfully you catalyze others' dormant abilities. You are not just awakened, you are an awakener. You were getting too close to fundamental truths they've worked for generations to obscure. Your natural understanding, perhaps expressed through your work, your art, your conversations, your writing, was spontaneously aligning with hidden realities. They depend on keeping veiled from mass consciousness. The courtroom falls completely silent at this designation. Even those unfamiliar with their terminology understand the magnitude of what has been revealed. They considered you a threat at the highest possible level. Not because you were violent, not because you were criminal, not because you sought to harm anyone, but because your very existence, your natural state of being, your unique cosmic signature threatens the artificial systems they've built to maintain control. You never needed to do anything to be a threat. You simply needed to be who you are. The judge removes her glasses slowly, eyes fixed on the recording device as it falls silent. 28 years on the bench, and nothing has prepared her for this moment. Court will recess for 30 minutes, she announces, voice strained with the effort of professional composure. But before she rises, she makes one more declaration. All evidence related to this recording is to be preserved under federal protection, effective immediately. No one leaves this building until that process is complete. Chaos erupts as the gavel falls. The opposing counsel, the expensive legal team assembled against you, frantically whisper among themselves. 3 of them are already on their phones, faces ashen. They know what this means. The prosecutors who previously dismissed your claims, who treated you with thinly veiled contempt, watch them now as they approach your attorney, business cards extended, voices hushed. We need to talk immediately. Court officers who barely looked at you this morning now stand at attention near your seat, suddenly concerned for your protection. The court reporter who rolled her eyes during your testimony now avoids looking at you entirely, embarrassment radiating from her rigid posture. In the gallery, journalists who came to document just another day in court are frantically filing updates. Breaking, their headlines will read. The story they thought they were covering has just transformed into something else entirely, something historic. During the recess, your attorney is approached by no fewer than 7 federal agencies. National security implications, constitutional violations, evidence of crimes that transcend jurisdictional boundaries. This case is being elevated, she tells you, eyes wide with disbelief at the sudden momentum. Federal prosecutors are filing motions to take over as we speak. There's talk of a special prosecutor being appointed by tomorrow morning. The judge returns, and with her comes a phalanx of federal officials. The energy has shifted completely. What began as your isolated battle for justice has just become the center of a much larger reckoning. In light of the evidence presented, the judge begins, her voice now firm with resolved certainty. This court is issuing immediate injunctive relief. All surveillance operations against the plaintiff are to cease instantly. All financial restrictions are hereby dissolved. A special master will be appointed to oversee the preservation of evidence and assessment of damages. She turns to look directly at you for the first time, really sees you. Furthermore, the court extends its deepest apologies to the plaintiff for the failure of our systems to protect their fundamental rights. What we have heard today represents an unprecedented assault on constitutional protections that cannot and will not stand. As she speaks these words, 2 of the defendants in the back row are quietly taken into custody, not with a dramatic flourish, but with the calm efficiency that signals the truly serious cases, the ones where flight risk is assumed, the ones where the evidence is overwhelming. The ones where conviction is all but certain, the mighty, are falling right before your eyes. By the time you exit the courthouse, the world outside has changed. News travels at light speed in our connected age, and clips from the courtroom, leaked, despite protocols, are already trending across every platform. Your phone doesn't stop buzzing, messages from people you haven't heard from in years, some apologizing for doubting you, some sharing their own stories of targeting, some simply sending hearts, prayers, strength, acknowledging without words that they now understand what you've endured. Media vans line the street, reporters shout your name. The same networks that refused to cover your story 6 months ago now compete desperately for your exclusive. The same talking heads who mocked conspiracy theorists now soberly discuss these disturbing revelations of organized targeting. Your social media accounts gain hundreds of thousands of followers within hours. Your previous posts, the ones where you tried to explain what was happening, the ones that received ridicule or concern or uncomfortable silence, are now being unearthed, shared, analyzed as early documentation of the targeting program. The people who called you mentally ill, who suggested medication or therapy when you spoke your truth, many have already deleted their comments. Some have sent private apologies, others have gone mysteriously silent. But more significantly, thousands upon thousands of others are coming forward. Your courage, your vindication, has unleashed a flood of similar testimonies. People who experienced pieces of what you endured but feared speaking out. People who didn't have the words to describe what was happening to them until they heard your story. This happened to me too. They did this to my career. I was isolated the same way. I thought I was losing my mind. The floodgates have opened. What they feared most is happening. The mass awakening, the comparing of notes, the recognition of patterns that were never meant to be seen in aggregate. Public figures you admired, who never acknowledged your outreach before, are now making statements of support. Influential voices are calling for investigations. Politicians, sensing the shifting winds, are scheduling press conferences to express their deep concern about these troubling allegations that must be thoroughly investigated. The court of public opinion has rendered its verdict far more quickly than the legal system ever could. You have been vindicated in the eyes of the world. They have been exposed for all to see. No conspiracy can withstand the pressure of public exposure. No network of secrets can survive the first major breach. The recording was just the beginning. What follows is the cascade. First come the small players, the foot soldiers of the operation who recognize the futility of maintaining their silence. They who processed the paperwork, they who implemented the surveillance, they who transferred the funds. Then come the mid-level operatives, those who carried out directives while knowing enough about the larger operation to implicate those above them. They don't want deals, they want protection. They've seen what the organization does to those it considers threats. Most significant are the lateral defections. The voice on the original recording has inspired others in similar positions of access and knowledge. They recognized the shifting tides. They made copies of documents. They secured their own evidence. Before coming forward, the system is unraveling from within. Those who once believed in its invulnerability now scramble to be on the right side of history, to position themselves as reluctant participants rather than enthusiastic enforcers. The fear that once kept people in line has reversed polarity. Now they fear being the last one standing, the only one who hasn't cut a deal. A particularly dramatic moment comes when someone previously feared within the organization appears, unannounced at the federal prosecutor's office with 3 external hard drives and a handwritten confession. Within days of the original courtroom revelation, prosecutors have received cooperation offers from countless individuals with direct knowledge of the targeting program. Not just your targeting, the targeting of hundreds of individuals identified. as cosmic threat-level operatives. Other chosen ones, other awakeners, other paradigm shifters who, like you, represented existential threats to the control system simply by existing authentically in their power. You were never alone. You were part of something much larger, a designated generation of souls whose awakening was anticipated, feared, and systematically suppressed, until now. Behind the scenes, panic reigns. Emergency meetings are called. Private jets are fueled for potential quick departures. Digital systems are being wiped. Physical documents are being burned, but it's too late, far too late. The betrayer, that unexpected insider who recorded the confession, was more strategic than anyone realized. Copies of the evidence were secured in multiple locations long before the courtroom revelation. The most damning documents were already in the hands of prosecutors. The most crucial server data had already been mirrored by white hat hackers working with federal authorities. Their desperate attempts to erase their tracks only add the charge of evidence, tampering to their growing list of criminal exposures. The mighty now turn on each other, a feeding frenzy of mutual blame and desperate self-preservation. Alliances that stood for decades dissolve in moments. Promises of loyalty evaporate under the heat of potential indictments. The awakening they feared, the one they targeted you to prevent, is happening anyway. Your vindication was the catalyst. Your perseverance through their targeting was the key. Your refusal to be silenced, despite everything they threw at you, has helped crack open the very paradigm they were desperate to preserve. But there will be no emergency protocol Omega. There will be no miracle save. There will be no restoration of their control. The confession changed everything. The targeting operation against you has been exposed. And in that exposure, something much larger, much more significant than one court case has been initiated. The Great Awakening they feared, most of all. This is a critical window. The momentum is with you, but strategic action now will determine how completely this victory transforms both your personal situation and the larger awakening it has catalyzed. First, secure yourself. Despite their system's collapse, individual actors may still pose threats during this chaotic period. Accept the protection being offered by authorities. Relocate temporarily if necessary. Change communication devices and patterns. Your safety remains paramount until all actors in the targeting program are contained. Document everything happening now with the same meticulous attention you applied to documenting the targeting. This period of vindication is historic, not just for you personally, but for the collective awakening it represents. Future generations will study how this unfolded. Be selective about media engagement. Every outlet wants your story now, but not all have honorable intentions. Some are owned by the same interests that sanctioned your targeting. Prioritize independent journalists with proven integrity. Consider alternative platforms where your full testimony can be shared without editorial filtering. Connect with others who experience similar targeting. The strength of your unified testimonies will prevent this from being dismissed as an isolated incident. Together, you demonstrate the pattern, the methodology, the systematic nature of what was done. Preserve your energy. The vindication is exhilarating after such a long period of being disbelieved, but the coming weeks will require stamina. Celebrations can wait, strategic action cannot. Most importantly, remember why they targeted you in the first place. Your awakening capabilities, your paradigm-shifting potential, your ability to help others see beyond the programmed limitations of consensus reality. Those gifts are needed now more than ever. What began in that courtroom is spreading beyond anything they could have anticipated, beyond anything even you might have imagined possible. Congressional hearings are being scheduled. Class action lawsuits are being filed. International allies are conducting their own investigations into similar programs within their borders. Journalists who specialize in deep investigative work are connecting your case to other patterns of targeting that previously seemed unrelated. The terms once used to marginalize truth-tellers, conspiracy theory, paranoid delusion, unfounded claims, have lost their power in the face of undeniable evidence. The reflexive dismissal of those who speak of targeting, of surveillance, of organized suppression has been replaced with a new sobriety. Given recent revelations, these allegations warrant serious investigation. What they feared is coming to pass, not despite their efforts to stop it, but because of them. Their very resistance to the awakening created the circumstances for its acceleration. Their targeting of you and others created the perfect conditions for the massive paradigm shift they were desperate to prevent. There is divine poetry in this cosmic irony. Their greatest fear manifested through their attempts to avoid it. The awakening they tried to stop is now unstoppable. They failed. You prevailed. Not through violence, not through retribution, not through becoming like them in any way. You prevailed by simply refusing to be anything other than what you are, a chosen one, a paradigm shifter, a way shower, a light bearer. The very qualities they sought to extinguish in you are now amplified beyond anything they could have feared in their darkest projections. The voice they tried to silence now reaches millions. The truth they tried to suppress now spreads beyond. Their capacity to contain this was never just about you. It was about what you represent, what you carry, what you came here to catalyze and embody and initiate. The case is won, the targeting exposed, the confession preserved for history. But your true work, the work they so feared you would accomplish, is just beginning. They slipped up, game over for them. Cosmic checkmate. The future belongs to the awakened, and you, chosen one, are leading the way.